And from there, I hand it to you, Carolyn, for our second group energy attunement session of the Cosmic Tantra community. This one occurring on June 23rd, 2023.
Thank you, dear sister. So I'm excited to drop into what everyone is calling in for attunement in this session, because I never get to know. It's never pre-planned. It's always a live reading and balancing. But I did get one hint right before. Right before, Spirit said, this session is absolutely about sacred sexual union, intimacy. We're going to go into the sexual wounding. We're going to go into all the stuff. And it's not always even that I get a topic, but I got a topic. So it's okay if people have intentions for something else. Like if something's really coming up for you right now, it can even be like, well, I do actually have a health thing, family pattern. It's okay. You can hold that intention, but we will be entering through the sexual energy for the healing. And so this session can be listened to live now. It'll be received, and then anyone who's listening and it's recorded form, you can absolutely go ahead and receive it as if it's live and happening right then. I'm just going to see if I can. Okay. Cool. I also get the sense that it could be listened to like in 6 months or in a year. It doesn't matter when it's listened to. It'll be like fresh and attuning. So it's a template that your body will use and apply however it needs to. So, okay, let's see. The other thing is, if you haven't had a body talk session, in these templates that get set up for balancing, the way you receive it is actually through your conscious breath and tapping. So while I'm reading the energy, I'll start to see which balancing techniques are needed to apply, and then I might have you tap on a certain area. And you could always listen to a session and not receive it. But if you're active and wanting the balancing, then you would go through the tapping part with me. So, okay. Before we start, we're just going to drop into some awareness around our own personal experiences in sexuality, in intimacy, and anything that's really coming up right now that you want to make sure you're holding in intention for yourself. And especially with like the focus of being in deep union with your whole self, being in union with your masculine and feminine, which is at the core of our lovemaking and sexual intimacy experience. That absolutely is like a group intention, and of course, like fantastic, pleasurable sexual experiences we'll all be intending on. But if you have something really specific, hold that in your intention as well. Okay, and I'm just going to feel into this if there's any other preliminaries. I do want to say, if you get interrupted on your connection or you have to leave in the call, it's totally fine. The session will, especially if you've said yes to receiving the energy, you're going to continue to receive that. When you get back on the call, you're going to keep receiving it. So if you've said yes, you're receiving the whole download. And if your conscious mind wants to know what was going on, you can come back and listen. But you got the whole thing. Thanks for being here, Madeline. Just want to acknowledge you. Thank you. I didn't know if either of you had something you wanted to share in your intentions, but you're welcome to do that. It also can be private intentions. Yes.
I'll share. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, it's just beautiful that, yeah, that you're just picking up on this energy, and it just brings up what I'm currently working through right now, which is I just got out of a big weekend sexual education training that was like a hands-on genital mastery vibes, and also just launched my profile on Sacred Eros for sexological body work, offering that like publicly now. And so with that as like comes up all of the things around it, and people contacting me, and still pacing my expansion, pacing myself, and remaining centered and in my internal union, and just still kind of releasing any lingering judgments or stories that I have about this work. And yeah, just yeah, just trusting, like just trusting the guidance, and like leaning into the edgy territory. Yeah, just like a deeper surrender, a deeper letting go of constructs, of beliefs, of what has been true for me, and how that's changing based upon all that I'm becoming and all that I'm being asked to step into.
Wow. Madeline, if it comes up in the session, is it appropriate to call the work piece Eros work? Or what would I call that if I see something in particular about people who are in a field of direct work with other people's sexual parts? Okay, just to help me
Yeah,
know what to call.
that would be okay. You could just call it the Eros work.
Okay. Okay. Eros work. Sweet. Ooh, that applies to several people in the group. So I'm really glad you're holding that archetype. And sometimes the whole archetype wants to be updated. This can go way beyond our group of people. Even if you're tapped in that high, which I sense you are, into the developing archetype, you could be calling in updates for the whole area of service in the world.
And I'm like specifically residing out of a tantrika temple in a really powerful grid right now, and working with multiple temples. So I know that it's streaming in through the field in a really massive way right now.
Mm-hmm. I have chills all over. Yeah. Okay. Any other intentions want to be spoken, or we will?
Yeah. Yeah, I'd love to weave. There's three pieces. One, I just want to name a plant ally that I've started a microdosing practice with, Blue Lotus. Yeah, and
I've been putting that on. I've been putting Blue Lotus on. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I love
Okay.
it.
She's
So,
here.
I love it. Yeah, it's interesting. I'm in my friend Silver is, oh, you know Sari from Holy Desire. She's doing an 11-week mushroom facilitator training that I'm teaching in, so I'm a part of it. And they're all starting a microdosing protocol. It didn't feel aligned for me to microdose with mushrooms, so I was feeling into the plant ally that feels like most aligned with the frequency that I'm wanting to tune in with. And so just acknowledging Blue Lotus as as I'm deepening into what feels like the next transmission, the next way of transmitting in my life. In terms of, sacred sexuality and sacred union, I feel probably more clear and more whole and in union with myself than I've ever felt in my entire life. So much of the grasping and the longing and the feeling of lack around union or partnership, it's not there anymore. It's just this like deep trust and curiosity and fullness that exists in my life right now. And I can feel that I'm attracting different frequencies in, and I can feel how I'm staying in myself as I receive attention from other. And really just in this deep curiosity of what it's going to feel like to be at a place, in a place where I desire and am a yes to weave sexually with a person. That's where I am. And it feels beautiful. And wanting to weave in the work transmission piece, an inquiry that I was in this morning, because I'm bringing forward a new container called Channel. And it's specifically around like how we as thought leaders stay rooted in our channel as we're met with controversy from the world around us, as we're bringing forward these paradigm shifting truths into the world. And I'm experiencing this, I don't even know if it's insecurity, but awareness that like this is the first offering that I'm offering that isn't leading with sexuality.
Wow.
And instead that it's not that we won't speak about sexuality, but that sexuality is more being held as an integrated aspect of what allows us to be a clear channel. And I feel like my whole system is rewiring, and like how I hold and bring forward this offering, because I'm used to sharing and transmitting in a different way that like more upfront leads with Eros. And there's something that feels like it's coming through in a different way, and I'm integrated into my being, and I'm feeling the uncertainty and the I don't know, like this is it, this is new. So I sat and prayed today of asking the questions like, like, how do you want me to offer this? How do you desire for me to transmit? What do you wish for me to speak to, Great Spirit? Yeah, there's more I could say, but that's the inquiry that I'm in right now, and some nervousness around letting go of the old way of sharing and creating space for the new to reveal.
Thank you so much. I had all sorts of Carolyn thoughts when you were talking, and what I love about what I'm going to do with it all is I'm going to let it all just be in the energy, and then if something wants to come forward, it'll be in the session, and it can be said from the group energy, and there may be information in the group that wants to speak about that, and even specifically to about your work. and what's happening. So we'll see, we'll stay open to it because it's so alive. What you're tapped into and creating is not from the mind. And so it's going to be really great to drop into the bodies and the group field and see what is said. Yeah. I think I'll just add intention with my own self as I'm in a unique moment of my life of being presented the opportunity to have a lifelong partner, which is not something I have considered before doing. I already did that once and I had considered not doing it for the rest of my life. So recently my partner is really wanting to focus on a longer term commitment. And part of that has to do with a child. And so I'm in midst of a transformation as well, going, is this right for me? What does my sexual energy think about this? What would want to be created if I did have longer term partnership? So that's also up for me too. It's like, okay, gotta get some balancing around this. So I'm going to be calling in that help too. Okay. I put on the Blue Lotus because I had it right here and I've been smelling it all week. So that's interesting. And you have it. Is it a tincture? Mm-hmm. Super grateful for you bringing this plant in. So cool. Sweet. And then I'm just going to drop in and you guys can either close eyes or have eyes open. I'll be narrating and I'm just really delighted to be in this energy with you. I want to say thank you to all of the wise guidance that has brought Ariel to this place as a leader and in gathering community and gathering conversations and healing spaces. And I want to ask for a blessing on her and all of her work, asking that each participant in her programs and particularly in this session that they would be blessed with their most aligned, most well and love-filled, life-filled, vital, potential life possible. I'm asking for the session to illuminate anything that's been unhealed, unable to come into the light and be seen and loved into wholeness. We're asking for new imprints around divine sexuality and intimacy, and in so much gratitude to the healing that is possible for us now. And so it is so. Amen. So the first image that I'm seeing is each person receiving the session has like their own cauldron in front of them. They have their own creative vessel. It's a cauldron, and everybody has their own waters in it. They have their own mix of what they have in that cauldron. It definitely hits me as a very sexual image, like this is my vessel, this is my sexual energy, this is what I've mixed into it. And when I look at anyone who's going to receive the session, it's like everybody's cauldron is doing something different. Mixed into those waters of life and waters of sexuality are different components. So looking at the general theme, first of all, I hear there's some stuff in here I don't want in here. There are ingredients in this mix I don't want anymore. And then I also hear there's something missing in some. So everyone's situation's a little different. But to create what we want to create in the sexual energy, there's some things that we don't want, some things that are missing. It'll probably return to that image at a certain point, but it started with that and I really love it. It's a fun image for the sexual energy. It's a cauldron of creation for sure. Okay, and then moving into just the group field as if it was one body, because we have these fun little experiences where we divide off into individual bodies and think we're individuals, but it's really just one energy. There are updates that want to come in. So this is kind of like the cauldrons that are missing something. I'm seeing there's updates. There's an update coming into the energy that's a feminine, I'm going to call it divine feminine update. And that's going to come in definitely into the energy pouring in. It's right behind the stomach. It's like a core place that energy from the larger feminine energy that exists enters the body. It's right behind the stomach. So primary feminine energy update. In the collective feminine, there's something almost to the point of burnout. Yeah, burnout in the behaviors of women sexually. Something does not serve anymore. And so this update that's coming in is going to bring new life and vitality into the sexual experience in general. A more balanced male-female experience, a more integrated male-female experience in the sexual experience. So I'm watching where this light comes in behind the stomach and it begins to pour into all of the parts of the system. When we think about the yin yang description in Chinese medicine, we all have organs that are primarily yin, female, and some that are more yang. So these are there's a cool energy beginning to flow into all the yin aspects of your system. The way it looks to me is just it's lighting up. It's recognizing truth on a higher level, truth for you. And as all the yin aspects are shifting, there's an automatic shift happening in the yang organs. It shows me a different sort of burnout where the focus on climax in the masculine energy has been the point of everything, just like very climax focused. And with the feminine update, it really can't keep that. So all of the masculine is beginning to shift in response to this new feminine energy. And climax is moving into another category in the system where it is not the priority of the body and mind. It's moving into a secondary and very important position, but it's allowing for the sexual energies to get this big shift. And it's moving intimacy into the primary position. So I'm still just watching all of these things ripple from the feminine shift. You can put one hand on the heart, one hand on the stomach. We're really focusing behind the stomach where that energy is coming in. And we'll do 3 deep breaths while your body shifts into this, bringing intimacy into its higher order of priority. And I get a lot of movement in the energy. It feels like a really rocky road in some people's systems. Like this shift is a challenge because of other programming that's there. That's very like accomplishment focused. And because accomplishment is tied with climax, it's like, whoa, this is hitting on my sense of success. Like, I want to be a successful lover, but it's going to have to unwind some thinking of what is success. What's an accomplishment? And that's going to really hit on some other aspects of the psyche. So it's not letting me go into each person's psyche, just staying general. Okay. We're going to tap lightly now. You can let go of the heart, and we're just tapping lightly on the stomach area, focusing right behind it. This does also impact the chakra system, but it's a little bit different. Okay, the tapping looks good. And then you can just relax your hands up. Let's see what the updates are doing next. Okay, there's this weave of communication going on between the yin and yang aspects of everybody's body. And it looks like an argument. It looks like an argument, like this has now surfaced something really ancient between the masculine and feminine in sexual contexts. So, but it's really an internal argument, but it manifests classically. So, okay. I hear the energy coming from the masculine side sounding more like a warrior, more like a, I will conquer you, I will win you, I will own you, I will then possess you. The female side looks a similar kind of aggression, but it's showing me I will possess you and own you through subtle means, through underneath deeper, subtle contracts, deeper, subtle manipulation. Both are coming at each other. I want to own you the way I want to own you. One overt, over the top, coming from the masculine, the other feminine. So both are looking very shadowy, argumentative. So anywhere within you that this argument lives, that's what's coming up next. This argument. There's a solution coming forward from the root. The root chakra is basically shining its light up into all of this and saying this is very impractical. This is not grounded. This is not a way to manage life. This is not life-giving. So I'm linking the root now into the whole argument and just letting it flow. It's ancient wisdom in, and I feel it in my system. I feel it moving some of this other psychological story out. And I keep seeing the image of gravel, like kidney stones, gallstones, clots in the blood, thick, heavy blockage, tumor cells, that kind of energy being produced in bodies as a result of this kind of gridlock between the masculine and feminine. So the root is sending up ancient wisdom in some sort of a deep order coming up from inside the earth. Actually, it's the 10th chakra of each person sending up, because it's under your feet, sending up other ancient wisdom right through that pathway and filling the argument with new information. You might have, I feel like burping. I feel heavy energy. You might feel this as it's moving through. It might feel uncomfortable right now as you experience and the light is being shined on this inner argument. And you just keep breathing. Okay, that ancient energy that was coming up is soothing the argument and straining it out and moving it down into one last simple thing to look at. Wow. I see it like the masculine forgot how to protect. And it actually started when the masculine forgot how to protect. That's what it's showing me. They thought protection was possession. And this isn't just every man, it's the masculine aspects of society, of ourself. You know, it's the masculine forgot. And so it's beginning to go, whoa, I forgot what protection was. So it's beginning to seal itself back up into the truth around protection. And it almost ends the argument right there. I don't see the response happening in the feminine side now that it's received this knowledge. Because it's no longer looking at it like a control, possess action. The feminine is always in response to the masculine, and the feminine's just, the whole energy just melted when the masculine shifted. So right now I see this really nice return of synchronization into the male and female energies. And this looks like lovemaking. This is lovemaking in the Kundalini. The snakes are dancing. It's like, okay, we are back. We are back in sync and we can do our rhythm. In one sense, they're not the same thing. They are very distinct, different energies, but they can now weave. They can weave. They can be in their own distinct energy and be vital and bring the energy higher, bring the climax higher, because there's not something stopping it in this argumentation throughout the core of the body. I would imagine that this image is about longer orgasms, more full body orgasms that reach into your life, or is it orgasms that are making you cry, laugh, make money, further, more in the world, more ecstatic, unbound energies in life. It shows me the image to return now to look at the cauldrons. And the cauldrons, though they're still individual, they look really clean in there. They're bubbling and there's sparkle and there's light. And it's just an image of, okay, because before it was thick and murky. And I actually would call that inner arguments within the self. So thick and murky. Now they're clean, clear, sparkly. So this first update is technically complete in the energy, but it's going to be slowly taking its time with each person in their body. So I see some people up to a month, cycling a little bit every day with what you can handle, because some of it might require the detox of this gravelly or clotty energy. So everyone's body will do that in its own way. The soonest anyone would be done looks like about 3 days. So 3 days to a month. And then there's a whole other thing coming in. Different images. Okay. It's changing it off of the human body now, because it's saying sometimes looking at something through the human experience is actually a distraction. It's saying we're now moving everyone's energy to just looking like a tree, and the kind of tree that you are. But every tree has to have roots. It has to have, you know, even if they're like roots out the side and hanging, there's something that's got to happen with roots and with energy moving up and down, exchange, light, water, all this stuff. So there's a different kind of body being used for the energy. And they're saying there's some impact from society on everybody's tree, everybody's organism. It's kind of like if you had various kinds of scarring on the tree, if somebody came and did a nasty pruning job or cut or hacked, now energy has to move around that area and it'll eventually get up there, but some limbs will die if it's too damaged. The tree will still survive, but there'll be difficulty. One of the influences that seems to have like a dramatic harm to our systems is coming up first. Okay. It wants to choose religion as the first harming hit. A systemic implant to view life and especially sexuality through. So whatever implant came over your life from early on, some it was just a scar on a tree, some it was branches gone. You know, there's something with that, the systemic implanting and scarring from religious systems. It's a whole factor. But actually, there's a balancer coming in for that. And it's something from the future. So everybody's body is gathering from something that'll probably be invented in like 100 years. It's reaching forward to something that's basically discovered that can help people psychologically. If you've had a deep imprint, it's hard to move out of your mind. So that's interesting. So it's gathering something from the future, a treatment that we would all use at that time in about 100 years. There's little semblances of it right now starting where there can be physical, like computer scans, that kind of thing, where it can scan and adjust and send different frequencies. That's what the thing is. It's gathering from something in the future that way and applying it to, I'm going to call it religious indoctrination. Okay, so to whatever extent that the person needs, this is applying. And it's kind of like most of the energy is very restrictive for people, where it's, this is bad, this is wrong. Not everybody. There's some people who maybe would listen to this and they had a different sort of experience. Okay. At the same time, there's another sort of draining or scarring effect on everybody. It's through like the commercializing, I'm going to call it commercializing of sex, where sex was tied with products. Sex was tied with, you know, wear this product, be sexy, and have what you want. So another sort of programming, yeah, commercializing. Get the girl if you look this way or you own this thing. it created subtle stories in the mind, like, I don't have that thing, so I'm not sexy. I don't have that thing, so I won't get the person. Okay, and then there's one more, and it's more like direct parental voices, or caregiver. If it wasn't directly the parents who stepped in and said something, I did hear one from a woman once. You know, as soon as she started her period, the parents sat her down and they said, you cannot have sex until you are married. And she didn't know that she was entering like some sort of sexual prison the day she got her period. But, you know, they announced, we will choose who you have sex with. And there is like a 60-year-old woman, she's still working through this. So direct verbiage from parents. So this is being deactivated as memories, multiple layers of memories, all stacked on each other. Even little things where like a mom might say, oh, look at that girl, she's trashy. But you love what she's wearing, but you want to please your mom. So each person has anything from about 6 of these layered up that are strong imprints from parent voice. And I see like all the way up to thousands. But in this group compassionate field, it's really inviting all of them to take their time and slowly deactivate as your system can, piece by piece. And that may take a long time, but you're having the space held for you for all of these misaligned, verbally spoken statements to detoxify from your mind, body, spirit, giving you much more of a clean slate, clean canvas, because now you are able to imprint by choice. Now you can make the choices for your own sexuality and partners and all that kind of thing. So I get a yes from everybody's systems that it's going to take its nice time unwinding those. We're going to do some light tapping now, starting on the very top of the head. We're just holding a lot of gratitude to every person's body for taking on this big of a detoxing with the mind and the heart and the gut. So we'll tap on the head, then we'll move down and tap on the heart. And then tap right above the belly button. All right, and then when you feel complete, you can relax your hands. The image is now that whatever disruption had gone on from these, your roots are settling, the energy's being pulled up, the branches are utilizing the energy. All of this like abundance, fruit, all of this image is filling in. Being a sexually vital person is the image. Then we have another kind of balancing coming in. So it's moving off the image of the tree and the scarring and moving into programming around partnership. And Ariel, because I'm just like deep in it, can you give me like a 5 minutes kind of little heads up when we have 5 minutes left?
Yep.
Just to kind of, I'm not aware of time. Okay.
We've got
so
30,
what's coming in is
we've got 35 minutes left, so you've got space.
Yay, good. So we all have programming around partnership, and I'm going to go into that. It's taking me into Well, and it's ready to shift because of what we already did with the masculine, feminine inside. I'm going to kind of write a couple things to keep myself on track. So the general group wants update new archetypes. Yeah, we all want new archetypes because we're subtly following in the steps passively of people we've seen. We didn't even mean to sign up for it, but we're being like them. So newer masculine and feminine archetypes. They're different for everyone. So I'm seeing just a new pair dropping into everyone's programming. And if you want to individually, we can ask your system who you chose. But it's kind of weird. Like some people have like really wealthy archetypes because they were like, oh, I want to be like that couple subtly in their mind, right? I want to be like them because they have a lot of money. But actually, their relationship is not great. And it's just perceptions, but your system really grabbed on to these people. Ooh, sparkly, you know. Your body's feeling in and bringing in male and female for more depth, connection, communication, protection. Yeah. Should we just do your guys's since you guys are live? We should ask. Okay, we should ask yours. Yeah. Okay. So we're checking on Ariel. Yep. You're like, I see you at the door of your heart, we could say, and you open the door and you're like, out. You have messed with me enough. And out go a couple people. It's not your parents. I think it's people you probably met when you were probably early 20s and you were locking in. That's the cool couple. So it's just outdated. And if you want, you can tell me names, but I can check them, but it's someone from then, a couple. So this is more like a mature couple coming in, and they feel more like medicine people, very connected to their work, very connected to each other, doing deep inner work. So yeah, we can always look more at that, but that's what yours look like. Do you want to know yours more, Madeline? Okay. So, okay, when I look at yours, you're trying to get them out of your programming, but it'd be like, whereas Ariel was like at her own door and just kicking them out and bringing new ones in, you're at like a ventilation system. There's like a grate on it and you're trying to squeeze them out, like get out of here, but they can't leave that way. So you've been trying to get this programming out, but I see it's been like somehow ineffective. It's still lingered, whatever these archetypes were. So I'm just, like, okay, just take them to the door. It's okay. And then they can go out. And then looking at yours look tied with a family ideal. It's not your mother, father. It could be grandparents on dad's side, though. Did you grow up around them?
It was I grew up around my grandparents, my mom's side, and they stayed together till they died.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, it's an older couple. So you actually visibly saw them until they died. That makes sense. And it's like them being your first, imprint makes sense. They stayed together. Did your parents stay together?
No, they didn't. I was like 3 months old when my mom left my dad, but actually that grandmother, today would have been her birthday, so it's interesting that that's coming in today.
Oh, you know what? She carried you through as best as she could with her archetype till now, but that makes sense. She's like, let's get you a new gifted set. Yeah. What I see is the archetypes you need are more, they're less human and they're more like mythical creatures. like a pair of mythical creatures. And that's better, more broad and open, not having to fit into wifey, husbandy energy. It's more like, well, I can fly, and I can make sounds that penetrate the darkness on the other side of the earth. Okay, cool. It's not in roles that are like, well, she cooks and he fixes cars. It doesn't want any of that. It wants mythical creature, expansive dynamics, not in a box, not even in the human box. That's fun. Yeah. And it really, in the end, honors the people that you first chose, that you're releasing them, because those archetypes carried us through. They gave us key things that we get to integrate into ourselves until it's time for an update. So, yeah. Okay. Okay, mine are shifting too. I guess I have to look at mine, but might as well. Mine were, whoops. There. Okay, mine were definitely more like religious looking, like missionary, and I had done missionary work when I was younger, so I could see where I'd really look at the couples with a cause. Yeah, we have to have a cause. We have to be like saving the earth or saving someone. So that's clearing, because like it's too missionary for me, and I need to relax about that. It's like, okay, I learned that, Carolyn. You've learned how to serve, you've learned how to do that, but what about like deep intimacy? What about that stuff? So my couple that's coming in, the archetypes, they're much more in like a personal, magical service to self is how they look. Still very spiritual, still very driven in a sense too, but it's like the energy is to conquer the unknown within, to go deeper, as opposed to I will go out, or look outward and change things. It's inner work is how they look. So yeah, that's kind of the flavor. Everyone's is different. There's something else in a message coming in. There's like a trapping of relationships that wants to be looked at. Like the moment that there's a yes to some sort of a commitment, whether it's just like a mental acknowledgement or it's the sexual union, I'm seeing the moment that there is the yes, our systems are way too used to hooking into the energy of the other person. So we're going to clear the hooking programs. Yay! Okay. It's funny when you think of it like hook up, but these are like energy hooks, hook up culture. It's like energy hooks. Okay. It comes from really more of a deep insecurity. So it's activating third chakra, second chakra, and linking those to the crown for more of a higher intelligence sort of communication and networking, not hooking, networking of knowledge. Under the crown, I see the third eye also saying it would like to be more active in any of our connections and relationships. Seeing eye to eye, third eye to eye. And then also it's activating a clearing of parasitic energy that we individually carry, that we carry in our family history as well. where we are looking for something else to give us energy. We are looking for something else to light us up instead of deeply connected to the source in ourselves. So clearing parasitic patterns where we were the parasites attaching to another to feel well. And the end result of that kind of hooking and draining is the relationship has to end, because just general survival will end the relationship at a certain point. Take a couple deep breaths on that one. There's a few guides coming in. They're guides over the collective experience of partnership right now. They're over the sacred union experience. So I see 3 guides. So, and then they're looking at Ariel. First thing they're saying is teaching on truth and your channel is very much in line with sexual work because it is intimacy with divine. It's the vertical. And when you're teaching horizontal between human, you're in this plane. You're just making a more well-rounded teaching that encompasses both. So the channel is the intimacy channel. Yeah. Self and divine. They're saying that's why they're wanting to have you offer that. It's an undeveloped place for some people. They're very drawn to the person to person work, but this can be an important balancer. So that's the first thing that they're pointing to. They're also saying attracting partnership is not difficult for a lot of amazing, beautiful, capable people. It's the keeping the partner. And something happens a little bit in once the hook or the draining happens, something happens and a step isn't made to really anchor a relationship. And so the person, ejects the relationship and then starts over. So it's like, they say it's not hard to attract, actually. It's hard to keep and to maintain. So they're going into this one spot where everyone will hit this spot. They're saying it's the doldrums. I actually don't know what that is. I don't know what that is, but like a whirlpool, it's something spirals and you feel like you are stuck. And some people misinterpret that place for, we're complete, bye-bye. But it's saying sometimes you are actually complete with a person, but if you have the potential of going long term, this needs clearing and more attention. It's also a place where you begin to feel your original wound, which is unique to you, and a place where you feel the karma from all the lives where you hit the original wound and then the ways you behaved and the things you did. So it just has you there until you can move through into another evolutionary cycle in your relationship. So they want me to set up a support for going through that phase when you go through that. This will help anchor in more of the potential for a longevity in the relationship. So we have This is a supportive little mini session that'll drop in whenever you hit that point in a relationship. Okay. Interesting. We're going to use planets. Okay, we're going to use the houses and the planets for general balancing. We're starting with the 8th house of interrelationships, everybody's 8th house and whatever's going on inside there. And we're going to link it up energetically. I'm thinking with the 9th house, but I just got to feel that out. Yeah, the 8th to the 9th house. I'm seeing things get caught there in an 8th house. And if they get caught too long, then it like jumps to completion. So in the 9th house, people can have a lot of access to philosophy and intuition, and they could pause and think and evaluate and go off an intuitive hunch more than just the reactive. It's interesting because the 8th house is also about death, but it could be birth, the birth of the next phase of your relationship or the place that it dies. So we're creating an extra bridge there to encourage the movement through to the deeper truths within you to carry you through. And then, it wants to link up into the 10th house for like a breakthrough, an achievement, to reach somewhere in relationships that you have not achieved yet. Okay. So that's a supportive little bridge running through those 3. And then there's also 3 balancings on planets that want to come in. Let's see what they are. Okay. All fire planets. Okay. Mars, Jupiter, and the Sun. Okay. Mars makes sense if we would hit a point and our Mars, however our Mars is functioning, takes over. Yeah, we go into our animal nature. You sneak up behind a mama gorilla and tap her on the shoulder or maybe take her baby, she's gonna fucking kill you. That is her animal nature. It doesn't matter if you're Jane Goodall. Do not take her baby. Animal nature, no. So like, I see our mama gorilla. If they touch whatever we view as our baby at a certain point, my business, my literal kids, boom, you're done. That is in all of us, 100%. So we're just gonna balance a little bit of our Mars. That gets triggered. Support some of that fire. Ooh, that gorilla image, that one was intense. And then the Jupiter, ooh, I see it, like balancing some part of us that's reckless, that does not want to have any rules or commitment, does not want to have any order to things. Just balancing those things out when we feel all of that stuff come up for us, especially if it's around our original wounds, which are different for everyone. It's just what we came here to work on. So getting a Jupiter balance will help us to not do anything reckless. And then just going to feel the Sun. It's showing me it's going to dial down the Sun because the Sun actually makes everything grow. So during that time where it's already really highlighted and all the stuff's in the face, we're dialing down the Sun so it doesn't feel like such a big thing. So all the fire stuff is going to get a balance. I actually love it. Love it. This feels really important. Okay, so all of those, and we're just going to tap over the heart, over this beautiful fiery heart that we all have. So that's like a preset for the next time you go through that. And so anyone that goes through this kind of a place in a relationship, when you notice yourself next time in your behavior, you can also just call to mind the balancing. If it should be there, but you could always tap and say, hey, that balancing, I need it. It's somewhere in my files. Call it forward again and just lightly tap on the heart. Sometimes I'll call forward a session I received many years ago because I remember it. It was the session about my frivolous spending. Okay, so it's like, okay, I'm just going to retap that session and ask it to apply again. But you can always call this one back again, the one where I get real stuck in relationships, and tap on the heart. Okay. I'm just feeling into where it wants to go next in the partnership updates. This is going to go into sexual health with your partner, whoever that is, and in any way, and this will apply to work situations as well. So it's saying partner plus if you're doing any erotic work and there's exchange of microbes, we're going to do a balance around that partner exchange. So it's kind of like the emotional, intimate partner, that's complete, but now it's who I'm partnering with sexually for anything, microbially. This might be the last section we do, but everybody's microbiome is getting a nice upgrade around intelligence within itself and knowing how to manage new information, incorporating new intelligence with existing intelligence, which is in essence what often drives us to be sexual with someone. When you get down into the science of it, there's different chemicals and little microbes that are attracted to other people's chemicals and microbes, which is not sexy at all, but it's there. So sometimes they crave new intelligence so that they can get updated, but we're balancing them to be able to incorporate that intelligence in and integrate it into their system. Okay. I actually have asked it many times of spirit when I've considered being with someone intimately. I've asked, what do my microbes think of them? Because even if I'm emotionally thinking it's great, the microbes win. And they will create friction or something will go on. You're like, what the heck was that? Microbes. So you can always feel into how your microbes feel about something. Now, you wouldn't want to tell the person probably. But, you know, it can give you insight. And then something's going on in everybody's system. I'm calling it like a search and retrieve to find some information that was deposited in you that your system does not want anymore. It is done with that information. Maybe it was a virus, maybe it was a bacteria, maybe it was a parasite, maybe it was a fungus. Hello. It could be anything. And that your system does not want that intelligence anymore. So we're also inviting, along with the integration thing. Sorry. I'm back. With the integration balancing. Just realized it's plug-in issue. Hopefully that's plugged in. It's going to do also a clearing of non-usable information in the form of microbes. We'll do about 3 deep breaths while your body is doing that update. Definitely hydrate. I see a lot of movement, and in some people, like a gathering and dumping of waste in the body. We already saw like clots and other things might be clearing. So now we've got microbe clearing. And if you have anything unique going on with your body, if you're like, okay, now I have this weird rash, just message me. I'm in the group. You can write, we can tune in, like, how is your body clearing these things? We can see any individual instructions if something. I don't think anyone will get something weird, but depending on your other loads in life, it can come out. Energy can move how it needs to. Okay. Blue Lotus. I'm just sealing up the whole microbiome with Blue Lotus. Oh my gosh. It's bringing a bunch of beautiful intelligence in. And I hear, we don't have as many needs as we think we do. It's okay to call them what they are, which is interests and desires and all that kind of stuff. And that's one of the things working with Ariel, I've noticed they've gotten clarified. So there's a lot of clarifying going on, and sorting out what our needs is so important, so that that can be clearly communicated. And I think the Blue Lotus is going to be supporting with that. Also, in exchanges for work exchanges, there's something that wants to be said about needs being met, needs of the practitioner being very, very important. Whatever the practitioner needs for doing erotic work or eros work, it's like knowing your timing, how much time you can give to something, what kind of space you need to be in, what you need before for focus, and what care you need after in doing any of this work, any temple work. Like, super important to know the needs. And there might just be 1 or 2, but you would never want to compromise on those. And I do get that those will always be tested. You'll say, I require this. Well, can't do that, but nope, I require this. Thank you. Or no. Very simple. So that's so unique to each person that it has to be deeply understood for your own system. So that's a really great thing too, coming in with the Blue Lotus, surrounding and supporting that. So these guides around partnership are going to continue to work with everybody. They are just showing me their guides working in the collective around the new partnerships. Okay, there's just something fun that they're saying too. The new partnerships are so expansive. This is why Madeline has mythical creatures in her archetypes. They're so expansive. And anyone who's receiving this session, they are going to be working with them in locating appropriate partners. That is, they're connected to you and they're working with you. So, and they did say partners, because some of your sexual partners are creative partners, and that's utilizing your sexual energy, and that's important. And you're not directly having sex. And some of your partners are direct physical contact, intimate partners. So there's just different partners with sexual energy that you'll be being guided with. Yay, we have more help. That is always wonderful. Okay, so they're with you guys, connected. There's one last balancing. Okay, it's around equilibrium and processing of just the general energies. So we're stepping out for a moment as we complete. We're stepping out of the topic of sex, sexuality, intimacy, and we're just going into energy. And the guides I work with are saying there's something energetically going on the planet everybody needs a balance for, and it's equilibrium. And we're going to go into the inner ears and the water inside the ear and all the little tiny components in there that keep your balance. So the consciousness of balance during fluctuating energies is coming up. So we'll balance both sides. This has something to do also with what we've probably heard of. Most likely people have heard of like the Schumann resonance, which is just energy of the earth is just completely going wild right now. There's also technological energies that are really throwing off people's equilibrium. There's something about, they're saying they really don't recommend wearing like long-term devices on the head or ears where you've got Bluetooth things going on connected to the head. Yeah. They're like, that goes straight into your brain. Having music around you, fine. It's inside the ears. That goes for even like long-term wearing of the ear buds. It's saying it's just so directly in the ear. A little bit is okay, but not a long-term wearing. Suggested. This is just a suggestion around balance of energy. I don't know if this applies to anyone either, but they're also saying you would not want to get any piercing of that middle inner ear. I don't know if anybody ever does that. Like piercings that would put a piece of metal straight where it would interact with the ear pathway. You wouldn't want to. They are saying down here on the bottom is okay. Be careful as you go up the ear. Really tune into where to have metal around the ears and where to bring things with Bluetooth in. Lower seems okay, and upper seems okay. It's like allowing for energy there. So that can be always consulted individually, but balancing out around the ears is going on. So they're commenting on that. This is to support you in not having too much radiation around the head as well. Okay, just feeling the inner ears balancing and the water balancing in there. And we'll do the last tapping. So we're tapping on the 3 brain centers, head, heart, and gut. Sweet. So I'd love to take a moment right now, just if anybody wants to share anything that they either felt or saw or were feeling. I think we have a couple minutes still, right, Ariel? Sweet. We have a couple last minutes. If anyone wants to share or add anything that they noticed that everyone's really tapped in, just wanted to make a space for that.
I'll share something that came in after you shared about the upgrading of the archetypes. I was brought into remembrance of this last partnership that I was with, that I moved to Hawaii with, and right before I went to Hawaii, I like met his family, and it was like the sweetest experience, and I like loved his family so much. And there was like this aspect of myself that had never experienced family like that before, and thought like, oh, see, this is what it's supposed to be like. And yet now on the other side of this experience, it's almost like I've been transitioning, kind of pre-processing this upgrade or whatever, because in this process of beginning to connect with this other beautiful man that I've shared with you all about, like, he actually doesn't have parents, and neither do I. And so there's actually been a really big relief in my system that I've noticed of like, wow, how nice would it be to like not have to deal with like any ancestral family, like clean slate, like brand new, whatever we want it to be, no pressure, no obligation, none of that. And also he doesn't want children, and you know, I mean, any of his own anyway. And so it's just like getting out of that old construct around what coupledom should look like in a family dynamic and things like that. Anyway, that was brought into my awareness after you brought that forth, and just feels like, oh, okay, I've already actually been preparing for this.
Totally. Oh my goodness, that makes so much sense. And isn't it amazing how it goes, wow, this feels right now. And then another time some shift goes on, and it is often different archetypes coming in. Now this feels right. So it's not being unstable. It's updating these archetypes that are supporting you to do the learning that you need to do at each time. Yeah. And it makes sense to, before going to Hawaii, which in that culture, deep honor of the parents, you needed a dose. You needed the family dose that served you. Lots of things served you. And then there's times for other things. Yeah. Thank you, Madeline. Thank you.
Yeah, the transmission for me, it really felt like a holistic weaving. Like I felt this just weaving of the tapestry together. And I appreciated the transmission that came through around channel, really about being about intimacy with source, and all of the distortions that we can bring into connection with other. Ultimately, it's also about our relationship with God and how we receive the power and wisdom of God, of source, in a deeply surrendered, devotional way. So we can be in right relationship with that power. And remember, it's not us, but it moves through us. And how do we be in that dance? So that feels good in my system.
I felt some hot energy move through me when you were talking, and I heard, I am the lovemaking of God. I am the lovemaking of this divine feminine and masculine together. I'm the lovemaking.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
You, ooh, yeah.
Mm.
I want to say something that I'm just noticing that just feels like really interesting and fun, that I feel like I'm moving into this more focused on the erotic in a way that I haven't before. And Ariel, that you're feeling the need to recalibrate in shifting focus, and that's balancing itself out, and how I've really come from a place of like deep vertical, like only vertical, not horizontal vibes, like that I've had to slowly pace myself into coming into the horizontal so that then I can be sharing in a way that feels like integrity to my system based upon the information that I've received around sexuality from the like intergalactic realms, and that it's like bringing that now into the horizontal, and Ariel, you bridging that into the vertical, and it just, anyway, I'm just tracking that. It feels really good and sweet and fun.
I'm
It's such
grateful.
a mirror of each other. Good job.
Yeah. And again, just deeply grateful that we get to have this space.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been touching in again, just in my own inquiry of like, what is the Cosmic Tantra community? Like, what is this space? And, just feeling the meaningfulness of this intimacy, and the way that I feel held in it, and the allyship, and the to me it is like the nourishing intimacy that we as leaders get to receive as we're out in the world doing our things, and the refinements and the attunements. So deeply grateful.
Me too. I truly believe I could not do this last year without this. And it has really sustained me. And a lot of that has to do with talking with the two of you regularly and the other people that are on here. It's been a lifeline.
Thank you for being here, loves.
Thank you.
Thank you to everyone who tunes in to this recording.
They are gonna be super blessed by all of our love bombing of each other as well.
Yes.
Watch 3 curly-haired kinky women just
Multi-dimensional kink.
Funny, we are all curly-haired.
Thank you again, Carolyn, for holding. Madeline, thank you for prioritizing being here in this space. And talk to you all soon. And I'll upload this to the group in the next day.
Sounds smart.
Oh, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Bye.
Bye.